Good evening. It's the Board of Trustees regular meeting. It's March 22nd, 2016. This is meeting 2016-07. Jane, please take the roll.
President Barry?
Here.
Trustee Olenichuk?
Here.
Trustee Desmond?
Here.
Trustee Carberry?
Here.
Trustee Border?
Here.
Trustee Strite?
Yes.
Trustee Stalker?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Would everyone rise for the pledge? Item 2 on the agenda. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. Item 3 is public comments. We do have several tonight. Mike Cerf and Les Mueller. You're coming up to say a few words about the Blue Ribbon Walk. You have the floor. I need you to introduce yourself. Let us know if you live in Oak Lawn, and you have 3 minutes.
Thank you. I don't
Thank
think I'll
you.
need 3 minutes, but thank you. My name's Mike Cerf, and yes, I do live in Oak Lawn. Hello, board. How are you? Hi, Terry. Hello, everyone. So the reason that I'm here is I'm asking again that we want approval to show support for our police and fire department and first responders, and we plan on doing our walk as we did last year. And everybody here, if you want to keep it in mind, for May 28th across the street at Lakeshore Park, we would like to have the approval to be able to have a walk to show our support for our first responders, police, and firemen. And again, it'll take place at noon at the park across the street.
And can you tell me a little bit about what it is? How long is the walk? Is it,
Yeah, the walk is probably less than a mile.
Okay.
So it'll take off from the park at noon. And I think that it'll be about a 20 or 25-minute walk by the time we walk around and come back. We'll have support. Again, this is Les Mueller that you introduced earlier. He's part of the social athletic committee over at the Raiders. And so they've actually supported last year, too. We've got a lot of people that ended up, Freshline donated hot dogs that we served. And we had bagels served by American Bagel, the Lally family. And so, yeah, it was a nice turnout last year. It was raining. It was about 100, almost 100 people we had. I think we counted 97. So if you guys all come, I don't know, what do we got, about another 50 here? So we'll maybe have 100.
200.
Hoping for, 150, 200 people would be nice. Come out and show support. So from all the negative publicity and the things that have been kind of going on, we decided that we want to do something positive to show our support.
Thank you so much.
You're
And that's
welcome.
item 6 on tonight's agenda. Go ahead,
Can I
Terry.
make a comment, Madam Mayor?
Absolutely.
Mike was a little guy that lived on my block back in the 70s. Okay, and he was the terror of the little block. Okay, but he was a good kid, and I'm glad to see, Mike, you're supporting policemen. Maybe I had a little bit to do with that. Okay,
Yeah,
It woke me up there.
yeah. You guys chased me a couple times.
Yeah, but he was a good kid. And Mike, I got more hair, and I'm twice as little as you. Thanks for doing it, Mike.
Yeah,
It's
and you
a
know
good
what? A
cause.
comment about Terry too. He used to race cars back in the day, and I think we used to come by. I think he
Taught-
had a,
taught you how to
yeah,
build a
little
car and
Corvette
race?
back there that he had. He used to let us sit in when we were about 12, 13, 14 years old.
Every kid
so-
in the neighborhood was
Yeah.
hanging around my garage to see the Corvettes.
Yeah, thanks so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Mike Sutko. How you doing, Mike?
I'm good, Mayor.
And could you let us know, sir, if you're an Oak Lawn resident?
Yeah, Mike Sutko, longtime Oak Lawn resident, and I just wanted to give a shout out today to Steve and Steve Barrett and his group of Public Works Department, Roger Minnick, who was running the speakers out at the Easter egg roll. We had hundreds of kids show up there, and it was just a great event that everybody enjoyed. Roger selected this music that was just so perfect for the Easter celebration, and as I say, when you get hundreds of kids out there, a number of them with the parents helping them gather the eggs, and some of them, the younger ones, but the older ones had to do it on their own. And the thing about Steve and his guys, the Public Works guys, is they went out and actually scoured the field with getting rid of all the twigs and everything so kids wouldn't twist their ankles or anything. They did a great job, and they ought to be recognized for that.
Thank you very much. And thanks for all your hard work also. Thank you. Mr. Ed Forsyth, regarding towing bid. How are you this evening, sir?
Hello, Mayor.
Thank you.
Saw you in our yard the other day.
Please let us know your name and if you live in Oak Lawn.
My name is Ed Forsyth. I've lived in Oak Lawn my whole life. I'm a 17-year employee of Jack's Towing. You're voting on the towing contract tonight, and word has already leaked out that we have lost it. And at both of the meetings I was at with Mr. Deach, and he absolutely raved about our service. Absolutely raved about our service. At the interview that my boss Mike had with the small board that was seeing it, I guess Chief Murray said that we were his choice for this. And I know that you're a small business person. Mr. Vorder used to own a business. I don't know if you still do. Mr. Straight does, and I think I missed somebody. And if you have somebody that gives you absolutely superb service, but you may have a few problems, are you going to fire that guy, or are you going to sit down and negotiate and try to make it better? Part of the reason we give great service is because we're exclusive. We do the whole village. We will not get tied up by a major crash in Lyons. We will not get tied up by a major crash on Harlem and Chicago Ridge. Everything we do for Oak Lawn. We have a lot of experience doing this. Some say that the reason we're going to go away is a sweetheart deal. Well, I don't know if it was a sweetheart deal or not. It was a good deal, but it was a good deal for the village because the place where we are, I don't know if any of you remember back that far, was an absolute blight. I came onto the scene at Jack's Towing about 6 months after they inherited the police towing. But anyways, the sweetheart deal is just about gone and over with, so make a new deal. Don't fire somebody that's really, really done a good job. And I voted for you because of your cause of transparency. So when this vote is done, I don't know if you guys do written votes or not. I'd like to know who voted which way. Because of transparency, because I feel the need to know. We've done an excellent job for the village. And like I say, there may be a few bugs. Negotiate. Don't put us out of work. I'm going to be out of work. I'm 60 years old. Where am I going? We have another employee that's been, he's an Oak Lawn resident, and he's been there 8 years. He's going to be out of work. I mean, if you guys don't really care about putting Oak Lawn people out of work, well, have at it. You know, but I thought that you were supposed to do the best for your constituents, the people sitting in this room. These are the people you work for. If you can get a deal done to keep the superb service that we give and keep the village clean, we work for the police. They don't want to be standing out there any longer in traffic than they have to be. And we get them out of there fast. But the reason we can do it is exclusivity. And I appreciate you hearing me. Can I do 3 more minutes on the magazine? Because I've seen some of that kind of concerns me.
Only one
Okay.
public comment, I'm sorry.
All right.
I don't know.
Thanks for your time. But
Thank
I
you.
hope you vote our way. It's
Yeah.
really important.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, then we have Teresa Flynn, and you're talking about the village publication.
Yes,
Teresa.
Teresa Flynn, Village of Crestwood. I'm out of my element, but feel very welcomed by the Village of Oak Lawn as always. Let me start. Thank you for allowing me to speak to you tonight. It has come to my attention that the Village of Crestwood monthly newsletter has become a topic in Oak Lawn, as well it should. I am Teresa Flynn, a Crestwood Village trustee, and was on the board where the decision to move forward with this publication was made. The Crestwood Advisor provides the town with happenings of village life. This includes board decisions, public works activity, a very busy senior center calendar, recreation center calendar, library events, as well as a letter from the mayor on upcoming developments and budgetary concerns. On a more personal note, our children, our future are highlighted. I received a letter from both Dr. Josh Barron from Shepherd High School and Incarnation Catholic School principal thanking the advisor for recognizing students and their achievements on the sports field and in and off the classroom. In this paper, we are able to salute our vets, Eagle Scouts, share a police blotter, welcome our new businesses, post local jobs as well. There is an occasional column recognizing a senior citizen and their life in a special feature called A Senior Moment. This paper shares local events as well as surrounding community events. Residents have been known to call our village hall looking for their new addition if its delivery is somehow delayed. There is a considerable population that looks to a paper form of news from the town that they live in that encourages a small town feel in a very fast-paced world. Never has this tool of information been used as political fodder. The board would not allow it. It is a positive piece. You have a fabulous town here with much to brag about. Showcase Oak Lawn and share it. Leave the politics for the political campaigns. I encourage a local paper to feed itself through the story contributions of its residents, as we do. It is your duty, as it is mine, to educate your constituents on the good, the bad, and the ugly. But also, as the saying goes, just the facts, ma'am, just the facts. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you, Teresa.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
And that was our last public comment. Thank you. For tonight is conflict of interest disclosure. Does anyone have a conflict to disclose with any item on tonight's agenda? Okay, moving on. One of my favorite events is the item 5, 2015 Fire and Public Safety Coloring Book Contest winner. So I'm going to come to the podium, and I wonder if our police and fire liaisons would care to join me there. And we have quite a few representatives from the chamber here. Do you want to, we'll introduce the kids, then we'll introduce the chamber. Okay. Okay, you want to come up and start? Okay, let me introduce Adam Woodworth. Adam, you're president-elect, correct? Lucky you. Okay. Adam is also our executive director of the Children's Museum in Oak Lawn.
Thank you for having us tonight. Each year, the Oak Lawn Chamber of Commerce collaborates with the Oak Lawn Fire Department and the Oak Lawn Police Department to produce the Fire Safety and Coloring Book. The coloring book is a teaching tool for 4,000 fourth grade students, 4,000 kindergarten through fourth grade students in the community. The book is distributed by the Oak Lawn Fire Department each October during Fire Prevention Month. The books feature a number of drawings designed to teach children about the dangers of fire, talking to strangers, traffic safety, and more. In the center of the book is a blank page where students can demonstrate what they have learned by entering a drawing into a coloring contest. The first place winners of the contest have their drawings proudly displayed on the cover of the following year's book. I want to recognize the Oak Lawn Community High School students who contributed illustrations for the book this year. If you're here, if you could just please wave or stand. Students are Camelia Alvarad, Kaylee Clark, Brian Mayrose, Gabe Metal, Alex Miller, Austin Scanlon, Bailey Tobin, Isabella Welsh, and Genesis Zepeda, under the direction of art teacher Jennifer Clark. The Chamber would also like to thank our businesses and nonprofits who donated to the Coloring Book Initiative this year. Cusack Insurance Agency, Hoff Realtors, law offices of Eileen Curlin Walsh, Oak Lawn Bank and Trust, Southland Accounting and Tax, Standard Bank and Trust, the Children's Museum in Oak Lawn, and then to all the other businesses who sponsored the book by purchasing ads. We'd also like to thank the police and fire department for all your support again this year. I would like to invite all of the winners and their families downstairs after the presentation for a little bit of snacks and refreshments, unless you want to stay for the meeting, which I'm sure people would do. And then I want to turn this over to Mayor Barry, and would like to invite our sponsors too to maybe come up if that's okay, to be kind of part of it. Right.
Sure. Did anyone bring a sample of the coloring book by any chance? Oh, they're downstairs. I was going to hold one up. It's a great tool. Don't go get one. It's okay. Do you guys want to read these, or do you want me to?
Go right ahead.
Okay. So these are the 2015 Fire and Public Safety Coloring Book Contest winners. We're going to talk fire safety first. This is sponsored by the Oakland Fire Department. First place is Kyan Luckett. Kyan, are you here? Kyan, congratulations. Kyan is... Thank you.
Look at the camera and wave.
Kyan is in 4th grade at St. Paul Lutheran School. His family membership to the Children's Museum is sponsored by the Children's Museum. He gets a $25 gift certificate sponsored by Standard Bank and Trust, and a $25 American Express gift certificate sponsored by Oaklawn Bank and Trust. Pretty fancy, pretty fancy. Second place, Adrian is at SMEC. Cermak, I'm so sorry. Adrian, we're so proud of you. You're second place. Good job, good job. Adrian's in 4th grade at Columbus Manor, and he gets a $25 gift certificate sponsored, and a $25 American Express gift certificate sponsored by Oaklawn Bank and Trust. And then, congratulations, great job. Third place is Emmett Broderick. Emmett. Turn and face the camera. Thank you. Emmett is in 4th grade at Colmar, and he gets a $25 gift certificate and a $25 American Express gift certificate sponsored by Oaklawn Bank and Trust. So this is the coloring book, by the way. It has fire on one side, and all the kids can color it in, and there's a lesson on every page. And the other side, you flip it over, and it's police, and it's awesome. And this is a tradition. Anyone know the chamber? 37 years. 37 years. So a great, great tradition. So now we're going to talk about the police department winners. Should I start first place again or keep the suspense? Let's go first place. Natalie Pedroza. Natalie, congratulations. Natalie is in 3rd grade at St. Germain, and she gets a family membership to the Children's Museum in Oaklawn, sponsored by the Children's Museum, a $25 gift certificate, sponsored by CUSAC Insurance Agency, and a $25 American Express gift certificate, sponsored by Oaklawn Bank and Trust. Beautiful job. And our second place winner is Joey Phillip. Joey, come on down. Thank you. Okay, Joey is a 2nd grader at St. Catherine's, and he gets a $25 gift certificate sponsored by Hoff Realtors and a $25 American Express gift certificate sponsored by Oaklawn Bank and Trust. And our last winner is 3rd place, Mia Rees. Mia Reyes. Come on down. And look for a photo. All right, and turn and look here. Thank you. Congratulations. She is in Covington, and she gets a $25 gift certificate and an extra $25 American Express gift certificate sponsored by Oaklawn Bank and Trust. So congratulations to the winners. I hope you keep making the wonderful artwork and keep up the good work. And trustees, do you want to add anything?
Mayor, before they leave, Diana would like to throw in a little added bonus.
For those of you, I'm the director of the 911 Center. If you're interested, I'd be happy to give the kids a tour of our center where we dispatch the police and fire department if you'd like.
That is so awesome. You know, they have their cookies too, so I don't know, you got to work it out before or after.
We can do a
They could leave the cookies with me, Mayor. I'll take the cookies.
Mayor, I just wanted you to keep those names for the future because I see these as great potential members of our Oaklawn Arts Commission, okay, that you started this year.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you on behalf of the fire department. I really appreciate what you guys have done. And if you do have the chance to tour the 911 Center, it's a great center. I wish you'd do it. So please take advantage of that offer. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm gonna let him talk. I'll wait till the chief's done.
Okay, that's it. Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you.
I
And
can meet
Diana?
them out this way.
Diana, I'm going to ask you to meet them out there. Thank you. That's exciting. Thank you. Thank you to all the family that came down, too. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, really? Yeah. Really?
Okay, and we're going to continue the meeting.
Are you gonna go?
Okay, item 6. This is our Blue Ribbon Walk on May 28th, 2016. And Mike, you already spoke about it. May I have a motion, please, on item 6?
No. Usually we make you stay.
To approve.
Properly moved by trustee Desmond. Seconded by trustee Oliniechek. Any discussion? Let's take that vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you. Thank you so much, gentlemen. It'll be a fun time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
very much. Hope to see you all there.
Thank you so much. Item 7 is a night court presentation. Is Joe Del Real in the audience? Joe, hi. Would you care to come up to the podium,
Are
sir?
they gonna stay or go home?
I don't know, I think they just got away with it.
Yeah, they got away
There's
with
still
it.
more meeting, ladies.
You're supposed to stay the
still
whole
more meeting.
meeting.
It's gonna be a long, it's gonna be a long.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
Hi, Joe.
Hey, good evening.
How you doing, sir?
I'm doing just fine.
Good. Welcome.
You're soft.
And so you're with night court, correct?
Yes, I am.
Very good.
Shall I proceed? I know there's...
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. My name is Joe Del Real. I am not an Oak Lawn resident. I am Manager of Community Relations with Nicor Gas, and I represent Nicor Gas in the south suburbs in southern Cook County. I do have a presentation regarding a project that we'll be undertaking in the village of Oak Lawn here real soon. Please feel free to interject questions during the presentation. It's probably the best time, because that way at least I'll be able to immediately address the inquiry or the comment. This program or this project is part of our Investing in Illinois initiative. It's a system improvement whereby Nicor Gas is proactively replacing aging infrastructure in our gas distribution system. Here in the village of Oak Lawn, the pipe that we are replacing is unprotected bare steel main, as well as copper gas services. Those two components of our system, in particular the copper gas service, that material for distribution is now obsolete. We have been doing them systematically throughout the years, but now we're actually accelerated that program and are replacing copper gas services. But in particular, I want to focus on this rather large project, because we will be replacing approximately 54,000 lineal feet of gas distribution pipe within the village. Real quick, just a profile on Nicor Gas. We run a 34,000 mile gas distribution system concentrated in the northern third of Illinois. We are the largest natural gas distribution company in Illinois. We cover 17,000 square miles with 2.2 million customers spread over 650 plus communities. So we're increasing the level of infrastructure improvements on our system. This is all driven by the Natural Gas Consumer Safety and Reliability Act. And this is the law that allows us to make certain infrastructure enhancements. A multi-year program that began in 2015 that will run for 9 years. So we are currently in year 2 of the program. Now, they include replacing hundreds of miles of aging natural gas pipeline. I mentioned a few of those materials. Now, we don't have cast iron gas main here in the village of Oak Lawn, but that is part of the program. But here we're replacing bare steel, unprotected main, and copper gas services. We are also doing some other work in our system. Our storage systems in central Illinois are also being supplemented and upgraded, as well as some of our regulating facilities, which we do have a few of here in the village of Oak Lawn as well. None of which are being replaced as part of this particular project. So the benefits of investing in Illinois. We believe the benefits of the program, you'll see an upgraded infrastructure that will enhance safety and reliability. So we anticipate unless there are external forces at play, that basically our leaks will go down. Most of the system that is being replaced in the 54,000 lineal feet that's being replaced will be plastic, but there are some segments of it that will be steel. But that will be coated steel with an epoxy coating on the outside, so it does protect it against corrosion. Improving customer convenience and reducing the need for future repairs, as I mentioned, as well as we're also enhancing the capacity. Part of this project also involves upgrading some of the system pressure from an older 25 or 28 pound system to a 60 pound, so it's going to get a boost, and that does increase capacity. We also believe that our Investing in Illinois program supports new business. New businesses looking to set up shop here in the village of in Oak Lawn will now be afforded 60 pounds of pressure in the area of this improvement. So if a future business wanted to set up shop and needed an increased delivery pressure, we may not have been able to provide it under the old delivery pressure of 25 or 28 pounds. 60 pounds does offer us a lot more options in terms of delivery pressure. Increased business activity driven by the heightened demand for goods and services, as well as job creation as a result of an expanded need for employees, contractors, vendors, and suppliers. If a property is going to be affected by our modernization efforts, we will be contacting the customers directly. And we try to do about 4 to 5 different contact events or activities from the pre-construction all the way during and leading up to restoration. So we use a letter. There will be approximately 1,000 customers impacted in the village of Oak Lawn as a result of our this major project. We also use door hangers, yard flags, and we do stop and talk to the residents, the people living in the homes affected, face to face to let them know what exactly we're doing. Are we taking questions from the public at this point,
No.
President? No. Our employees and contractors wear identification badges. They look a lot like, they do carry our logo, a lot like this, right? It's gonna be hard to see. But you have, when we approach you, if you're a resident and we're letting you know that we'd like to enter the premise to see if it's an inside meter, where will we be putting the meter on the outside, what work needs to be involved, what work is involved. Before you let a person presenting themselves as a utility employee in, you can call Nicor Gas directly and verify the status of that person and verify that that person is a legitimate Nicor Gas employee or contractor. So what does this mean for our customers? Basically, the qualified infrastructure charge, some of you have already seen it on your gas bills. They started in March 2015. It is a controlled cost-controlled adjustment, not to exceed an annual average of 4% of the delivery charges. So basically, it's a rider that you already starting to see on your bill. Our Nicor Gas customers throughout the territory are basically supplementing or they're financing this system improvement as a result of the Reliability Act I mentioned earlier. And these amounts billed are filed monthly with the Illinois Commerce Commission, as well as an annual reconciliation is performed. Now, the item on the left on the slide there is a sample of the newsletter that the residents impacted by our project will be receiving. So that's a sample customer newsletter. On the right-hand side of that newsletter, there will be an overall map of the area where we will be performing work, as well as a range of addresses impacted, as well as the contact information for the project supervisor, a direct line to our restoration team, and a general phone number for program information. The other piece on the right there is our bill insert. Some of you may have seen it already. It describes the program in terms of the overall, how it works, what we're doing, how it works, and where to get more information online as well. So we're proud of our program. We believe it's going to provide us all with a safe and reliable natural gas distribution system, and we continue to work closely with Village of Oaklawn officials in our Public Works Department so that everybody is aware of what we're doing and how we're doing it and when we're doing it. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask.
Okay. Trustee Stalker.
Did I hear you say that you're moving meters outside?
Yes, as part of this program, as part of this project, we are moving the meters outside.
And anybody who has an indoor meter will have it moved outside?
Yes.
Very good, thanks.
Thank you. Any other questions from trustees? Trustee Straight?
Jose, if you, any of the, let's say the surface that you disturb in making your repairs, will that be restored up to the condition that was in prior to your work?
Yes, Nicor Gas is making a commitment to restore it to the condition we found it in. And we will work closely with the impacted customers if the restoration is on property, as well as Public Works officials on restoration within the rights of way.
Trustee Border.
Yes, Joe, you mentioned that you're upgrading the system from 28 pounds of pressure to 60-some pounds of pressure in
Yes.
the line. Will that affect appliances or the home itself, or your meters will adjust that out to?
The regulators at the meters currently, now, keep in mind that all those regulators will be also replaced. So there'll be a new meter and a new regulator. But even if we weren't touching the regulator and the meter, the regulators are designed to respond adequately to that level of pressure on the inlet side. Okay. So there's no need to do it, but we are doing it as part of this program.
Okay, thanks.
Very good. I have a question, sir.
Yes.
What number should the residents call if someone's knocking on their door and says they're from Nicor?
Call our toll-free number, 888-NICOR4U. Basically, you will use the option as if you were reporting a natural gas emergency, so you can speak to a live person. You tell them that so-and-so, somebody's at your door, identify themselves, give them the name that they've used, and you want to confirm that that person is a Nicor Gas employee. There is a number on the back of the ID. You can also ask the person at the door through a window or a crack. Hopefully you don't let them in. You ask them for that number because that number corresponds to a employee ID number.
Yeah, we always ask residents to be very safe with who they let in the homes.
Absolutely, absolutely. We will wait. Our employees will wait while you verify, because we find it important for, number one, to provide you that peace of mind and security, but at the same time, the work is important to us, so we will wait while you do that.
Trustee Desmond.
Can you give us that phone number again, please, in numbers?
Sure. 888-NICOR4U. That's the call center number. And that number corresponds to 888-642-6748.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
There is another general number for the program. You can call that line if you have program-specific questions. And that's also available online. So if you want the website, you can go to nicorgas.com, visit the Work in Your Neighborhood section, and there you can find additional information regarding the program, as well as the newsletter will also be posted there for download if you'd like.
Wonderful. Any other questions, gentlemen?
Just a quick comment. I'm not sure I like the idea of asking the employee to provide the number on the back of their badge. A trained scam artist is going to have a number where somebody's going to be on the other end of that line saying, oh yeah, they're with us.
If they call the toll-free number, our call center representatives know how to, if you have a very, for lack of a better term, a very common name, if you're Jane Smith or John Smith, the way to cross-check it is that number has to correspond with that name. If they have a list, if they give you a number of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and they say they're Jane Smith, if that doesn't match in our database, the call center representative will say that person is not a Nicor Gas employee.
I think what he means is just anyone could print a phone number of their friend on the badge. And I've had residents say, well, I knew it was a scam because a real person answered the phone at the other
Well,
end.
when you call 888 NICOR for you, the first thing you get is an automatic response providing you options.
Yeah, good.
So from there, you select your option, whether it's bill related or any emergency. And then from there, that person will respond and identify themselves as a call center representative.
We will get that phone number out there so people won't have to worry about it. And
Absolutely. Yes.
Joe, did you say this would be on your website?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, the newsletter will be on the website. The bill insert is available for download on the website as well.
But this presentation?
No, not the
Oh,
presentation. The
can
presentation
you
is
get me
being.
that? Can you email me that?
I'll get, if you don't mind, I'd like to have a single point of contact. I've been working very closely with Gerald Ciccarillo.
Oh, that's fine. I'm just needed for the minutes, and we get a lot of calls from residents, so.
That's fine.
It'd be beneficial.
Okay, well, I can provide
Yeah.
that to you electronically. Mhm.
Sounds good.
sounds like a future newsletter article to me. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Okay, we're on item 8. This is approval of meeting minutes for the regular meeting minutes, 2016-06. These are dated March 8th, 2016. I have a motion on item 8.
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Moved by trustee Warder, seconded by trustee Carberry. Any discussion? Let's take that vote.
Trustee Oliniechek?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond?
Yes.
Trustee Carberry?
Yes.
Trustee Vorder?
Yes.
Trustee Streit?
Yes.
Trustee Stalker?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. 9 is new business by village trustees. Let's start in District 6. Trustee Carberry.
Thank you, Mayor. No report tonight.
Thank you. Trustee Stalker.
Nothing at this time, thank you.
Trustee Warder.
Yes, Mayor, just a note. I was in communication with the hospital this week about the traffic signal that we're anticipating at 95th and Kilbourne. It's greatly needed. They're anticipating construction to begin within the next 3 weeks. This is going to be an all-summer project as there needs to be curb cuts, so there'll be some inconvenience to the motorists on 95th Street. This has been a 3 or 4 year process, Larry, am I
Long
correct?
time,
Long
long
time, because you're dealing with IDOT, a real bureaucracy, so there was a lot of work that went into this, but we'll start seeing a traffic light there quickly. And I'm asked many a time, is it gonna coordinate with the Costner light? Am I gonna catch both lights? And it will be coordinated, and you should not catch both lights, with the possible exception of an ambulance, which triggers the lights so that they can make left turns. That's all, Mayor, thank you.
Everyone's asking, when is that light going in? When is that light going in? So it's a big
Yes,
deal.
yeah.
So, thank you.
The only other question I get more often is when they're gonna start picking up lawn waste.
And we have a date for that. Trustee
Yes,
Warder, you want to let
April
residents know?
1st.
Yes, very
April
good.
1st.
I had an email today I have to answer still on that one. Okay, trustee Streit.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I'd like to talk for a minute about our Health and Sanitation Department, the work they do for our Oak Lawn residents, and the reason why we need them so much. Every year, I receive a lot of calls about unkempt properties and the wild animals and vermin that are attracted. I'm often asked why there seems to have been an increase in recent years, and this year seems to be record calls. There's a couple of contributing factors. With the downturned economy, that we saw more empty and foreclosed homes, and it's a tremendous undertaking to contact those who are responsible for these properties. No humans also means easier access for the animals and increased breeding. Animal feces also attract not only vermin, but flies and other insects, and is quite unpleasant in many ways. With increased outdoor activities as the weather gets warmer, it's even more important to be sure to keep yards and parkways clean. Also, with each new construction project, the ground is disturbed, and so are the natural homes and nests that house unwanted guests. The good news is that once completed, the new buildings are inhabited by people and the unwanted tenants leave. When they do, nearby residents see them more frequently and perceive to be there an influx of infestation. More good news is that we have a highly diligent health and sanitation department. Each contact made online or by phone is addressed and action is taken. The village has an exterminator that baits traps on a regular basis and doesn't give up until the vermin are gone. You can contact the village directly, or you can call your trustee if you have a problem. My constituent service office is always available to help with these and other issues. I'm looking forward to the summer and the activities that come with the warm weather. And when you see me out and about, please stop and say hello. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. District 2, Trustee Oliniechek.
Leading into Bob's written speech about that, I think it's a really good thing that the residents understand that we've upgraded our technology. We have a database of the rental properties through the work of the village staff. We also have an update of properties that are either empty or in foreclosure. So we're trying to stay ahead of the game. Coming into this spring, this will be the first spring since I've been a trustee, that our environmental protection department, run by Jeannie Galzin, is going to be getting out in front of those houses that may have been issues in the previous year by making sure that they're served the information prior to the grass getting over 2 inches high, letting them know, because by law, before we can enter a property that is not up to the minimum standards of the village, we have to give them what's called a 5-day notice. And when you're dealing with absent landlords, when you're dealing with banks that own homes in foreclosure, that could be a little bit difficult. But with the help of the board and Cook County, we've made a huge difference, wouldn't you say, in the amount of time and the response time? So getting into the springtime, we want to make sure that we are ahead of the program, so that way our public works can dispatch the proper people to go ahead and take care of the abatement and making sure that these homes meet the minimum standards in the village of Oak Lawn. So Bob, thank you for bringing that up. I too can be reached at my cell phone, 708-774-7355, and I am very active in the neighborhood with making sure that we try to keep in front of it. Secondly, we've had some good meetings with the ComEd. Some of the work that we've been able to do with ComEd has helped us. We've gone through 2 major windstorms. We've had still a couple of issues, but nowhere on the velocity of issues that we've had in the previous year. We're not happy with that. There's still more work that needs to be done with tree trimming, with upgrade of our infrastructure, and Commonwealth Edison is due at our next village board meeting to provide us with an update of the ongoing summer projects, spring and summer projects. ComEd has been spending, what was it, over $2.5 million in infrastructure upgrades in the village of Oak Lawn. And I know that some of the people that have been experiencing power issues are not experiencing as many or as often, but we're still not satisfied with that. I know that Trustee Stalker was at the last meeting that we had, and with his experience of dealing with Commonwealth Edison, was able to shed some light on some of the issues that we were having with the, what was it, a 12 kV line that they needed to change out?
Yeah, 4 kV conversion to 12 kV.
And again, yeah, all I know is that when the power goes out, it's not a good thing, but the upgrade and what we've been fighting for is making a difference, and Commonwealth Edison has been putting a full court press on that. So that concludes my report. Happy spring and happy Easter. Thank you.
Thank you. District 1, Trustee Desmond.
Thank you, Mayor. On Saturday, April the 9th, I will be holding the first district community meeting of 2016. This time we will be at Francesca's on 95th Street at 11 a.m. And Division Chief of Detectives Randy Palmer will give a presentation and will be available to answer any questions, as I will be available. Any questions on public safety or anything on village matters. Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you. Trustee Desmond, I just want to applaud you for having those regular meetings. Makes a difference, I think. Thank you so much. Okay, 10, Village Manager's Report.
Thank you, Mayor and Board. It's my distinct pleasure to inform the Board that the Village of Hotchkins, Illinois, their Mayor and Board of Trustees have voted to enter into an agreement for police dispatch services with our community. Many of you know that Hotchkins has a very strong industrial base, has a shopping mall, and has a AA- bond rating. So I'd like to thank the mayor, their village council, and their board for their confidence in Diana and Diana's fine team in NORCOM. After that vote, we also received the good news that last night Mayor Sexton and his fine board in Evergreen Park also voted to enter into a long-term agreement for dispatch services with our community. And Evergreen Park certainly is a fine neighbor of Oak Lawn, and we're very pleased that they also place their confidence in the men and women that serve our emergency communications under the fine leadership of Diana. So finally, I'd like to thank Diana, her team, Brian Hannigan, Joanne Zawinski, and all the men and women of the village that worked hard to gain the confidence of those two fine communities. We expect to hear from Burbank and also from the village of Bridgeview shortly as well, and I'm quite confident that they will also be voting in support of that multi-year agreement. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you very much. We're on 11 now. Request to approve the Planning and Development Commission referral for a variation from Ordinance 11-1842 regarding flat work and impervious surfaces at 10113 South Maple Avenue. This was a 7-0 vote to approve petition 2016-5, Dan Sheedy petitioner in District 5. And then 12 tonight is an ordinance granting that request. May I have a motion on 11 and 12, please?
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Trustee Stalker made the motion and seconded by Trustee Carberry. Any discussion? Let's take that vote, please.
Trustee Oliniechek?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond?
Yes.
Trustee Carberry?
Yes.
Trustee Vorder?
Yes.
Trustee Strite?
Yes.
Trustee Stalker?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Is the petitioner here? Congratulations. Enjoy. Thank you. So we're on 13, a request to approve the Planning and Development Commission referral for parking variation and variations to parking stall length, landscaping, and setback requirements at 10745 South Cicero Avenue. This was a 7-0 vote to approve petition 2016-6. Hollis of Palis LLC is the petitioner in District 6. And then we have an ordinance granting that request as item 14. We have motion on 13 and 14.
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Trustee Carberry made that motion.
Second.
Seconded by Trustee Stalker. Any discussion? Let's take the vote.
Trustee Oliniechek?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond?
Yes.
Trustee Carberry?
Yes.
Trustee Vorder?
Yes.
Trustee Strite?
Yes.
Trustee Stalker?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Okay, so 15. This is ordinance 1607-15, an ordinance consenting to an application by Hollis of Palis LLC for a Class 7 Sea-Like Cat designation pursuant to the Cook County Real Property Classification Ordinance for the real estate located at 10745 South Cicero Avenue. This is PIN number 24-15-300-005-000. And then we have item 16, which is, nope, we're doing these one at a time. Thank you, Pat. 15, may I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve.
Trustee Carberry made the motion.
Second.
Seconded by Trustee Stalker. Any discussion here?
Yes, Mayor.
Trustee Straight.
Yep, thank you. Everyone knows that Culver's is a very successful fast food franchise, and that's why I supported the establishment of that at that location. My question is, was a tax break necessary to attract Culver's to this location? 107th and Cicero is prime real estate, as prime as real estate gets in the village of Oak Lawn. My concern is when we provide a tax break for one business, that means that everyone else pays more. Do we really have to subsidize Butterburgers? Did Culver's get a tax break at their location in Bridgeview at 90th and Harlem? Did Culver's get a tax break at their location at 96th and Kedzie in Evergreen Park? Did anybody even check to see if they were given a tax break at their other locations? Providing this type of a tax break requires the village to execute a certification that says the property development would not have gone forward without the incentive. What is that incentive? Well, the owner receives a reduced property tax assessment of 10% of the fair market value for 3 years. Then it becomes 15% for the 4th year and 20% for the 5th year. Usually, commercial property is assessed at 25%, so we're talking about a huge tax reduction. Culver's has been looking to move into Oak Lawn for at least the last 4 years. The owner is Guy Howless, whose brother ran for trustee with the mayor's endorsement in the last election. It sure sounds like an insider deal that is as fishy as Culver's Alaskan cod.
Thank you. Larry?
Well, thank you, Mayor. I don't have a prepared speech along those lines, but I will tell you this, that it is true. Culver's has been looking at Oak Lawn for some time, and quite frankly, given the background that we know of Culver's, it's a fine family restaurant, and it's a well-run organization out of Wisconsin. And we did support Culver's coming to this community. Unfortunately, we don't assess property in Oak Lawn. The assessment function is a county function. And as your manager, I've had the privilege of working in communities where the assessment process is professionally managed and the department head reports to the village manager in that respective community. And I can tell you how it does work the right way. I can't figure out how properties are assessed in this community by Cook County from parcel to parcel. I don't often see rhyme and reason. And in this particular case, the application provides data going to Cook County to justify the request, and it shows that there is a higher taxation and assessment on this property than there would be in some of the other sites that other communities have been fortunate to have Culver. So I do support the assessment because the real revenue stream in Oak Lawn is sales tax. And the forecasted sales tax from this business will be very strong. That sales tax goes to support ongoing operations, general fund in our municipality. And that's really the engine, just like we discussed at the Planning Commission last night. The Mancari application and the sales tax that a fine business like Mancari receives, and the desire to provide that business an incentive as well. So anytime we can reduce taxes for business in Oak Lawn, I'm going to raise my right hand. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion? I'm going to give it to Trustee Border, who's a little quicker.
Yeah,
Sorry, Trustee Stone.
Larry, did I understand you right that, I know I didn't vote on any tax reduction for this restaurant. This is a function of the county, not the village board, or the mayor, okay, supposedly that has this clout. Am I correct?
It's a county program. It's an economic development incentive for business sponsored by the county, and procedurally they like to have the municipalities where that business will have the opportunity to reside to pass a resolution of support, but they have the ultimate say. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Trustee Stalker.
Yeah, that a very valuable property on Cicero Avenue is Papa Joe's. Papa Joe's decided to move to Chicago Ridge because they weren't making it there for some reason. I thought it was busy all the time. They also didn't make it in Chicago Ridge, so now it's had vacant. Culver's has another property further south on Cicero and in Evergreen Park, so they resisted coming to that location because of market share. Steve Radis did a great job of bringing Culver's to that location, and I think it's a great addition to the village of Oak Lawn. So I strongly support it.
If I could, Mayor, on that note, unpaid taxes were the issue at that former restaurant that closed in Oak Lawn. The tax level, according to the owner I spoke with, was onerous.
Thank you. Pat, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, just to Trustee Vorderer's point, again, you are not voting tonight to grant this property tax exemption. You don't have that authority. That's a county authority. But in order for the petitioner to move to the county, who will ultimately decide whether this exemption is granted, they need a resolution of support from the municipality. So that's the procedural aspect.
I see.
Thank you. Any other discussion? I just want to add that this is a beautiful, the plans are absolutely beautiful, and I want to thank you for the investment of over $3 million on Cicero Avenue. I know residents are going to embrace it, and Trustee Stalker, you made an accusation with absolutely nothing to back it up, and shame on you. I'm sorry, Trustee Strite, pardon me. You made an accusation with nothing to back it up. Shame on you
Nothing
for
but
that.
the facts.
Okay, show the
I'm
facts.
better
sir.
looking than he is.
Mayor, this is just another
switch?
attempt to throw
Can we
mud
switch
at the
seats?
wall
I
and
know,
hope
I
some
know.
of it sticks.
So let's call that vote, please.
Trustee Oliniechek.
Yes.
Trustee Desmond.
Yes.
Trustee Carberry.
Yes.
Trustee Vorder.
Yes.
Trustee Streit.
No.
Trustee Stalker.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-1.
Thank you. And we're on 16, ordinance 160716. An ordinance amending Title II, Chapter 21, Section 2 of the Oaklawn Village Code pertaining to the composition of the Oaklawn Arts Commission. May I have a motion, please, on 16?
Motion made, Mayor.
Thank you, Trustee Warder. Any second?
Second.
Trustee Carberry, thank you. Made the second. Any discussion? Take that vote, please.
Trustee Oliniechek.
Yes.
Trustee Desmond.
Yes.
Trustee Carberry.
Yes.
Trustee Vorder.
Yes.
Trustee Streit.
Yes.
Trustee Stalker.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. 17 is ordinance 160717, an ordinance amending the fiscal year 2016 annual budget. This is the addition of the village newspaper. May I have a motion on 17, please?
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Trustee Warder made the motion, and
Second.
seconded by Trustee Desmond. Any discussion? Let's take that vote, please.
Trustee Oliniechek.
Yes.
Trustee Desmond.
Yes.
Trustee Carberry.
Yes.
Trustee Vorder.
Yes.
Trustee Streit.
No.
Trustee Stalker.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-1.
Thank you. 18 tonight is Resolution 160716, a resolution approving a publishing services agreement between the Village of Oak Lawn and Fanning Communications Incorporated. May I have a motion on 18, please?
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Moved by Trustee Warder,
Second.
seconded by Trustee Desmond. Any discussion?
Yes, Mayor.
Trustee Warder.
There is a really rather destructive blog out there which has kind of indicated that this did not go out to bid. I would like the village attorney, okay, to touch on the bidding process for professional services.
Sure, thanks, Trustee Vorder. These are professional services under both the Illinois Municipal Code and the Oak Lawn Village Code. There's no requirement that professional services actually go out to a formal bidding process.
Thank you. We will go out to a bidding process on the publishing of this paper and the printing of it, correct?
Absolutely,
Okay, thank you.
That's a topic of competitive bidding.
Thank you.
Thank you
That's all
so
I have,
much.
Mayor.
Okay, very good. Any other discussion?
Yes, Mayor.
Who was that? Okay, Bob.
Thank you. At the meeting that Mr. Fanning presented his proposal, both he and the manager said that they would provide financial information supporting the claim that this newspaper would pay for itself. That information was not in my packet, and I suspect it wasn't in anybody else's packet either. One reason that it may not have been provided is that in the only other town that Mr. Fanning represents, that municipality has lost nearly $100,000 over the last 3.5 years using the same model that he's proposing to use here in the village of Oak Lawn. Because we're 3 times the size of that municipality, we'll actually lose 3 times more than they did. The manager was also asked to contact the schools, the park district, and the library to ask if they would share in the cost. Perhaps the manager will share those results with the board before the vote is taken. At the same meeting, the mayor said that even with the 6 newspapers, 3 of which are sitting here this evening, that cover this village currently and who do a fine job, these televised board meetings, the mayor's blog, the mayor's Facebook page, and the village's Facebook page, the mayor feels that somehow the people of Oak Lawn are incapable of getting her message. I'm not sure that the people aren't getting the message. When this board commits to wasting $100,000 of taxpayers' money to cover up a lack of transparency, a lack of fiscal accountability, and cuts to vital public services, the problem may be that the message isn't really that good. I'm urging everyone to stop and realize that if a newspaper was a great money-making idea, somebody would be doing it in the business community. Instead, newspapers are dying faster than flies. Only in government would anyone think that's a good idea.
Any other discussion? Trustee Stalker.
Trustee giveth with one hand and takes away with the other.
Thank you. Trustee Warder.
Bob, I understand how scared you are of this newspaper. Your blog has had 6 articles on this. This is some positive information going out to the residents. I think I mentioned earlier that one of the most common questions I get is, when is there going to be refuge pickup? Obviously, the people are not getting the information that makes this community such a wonderful community to want to live in. And I would ask the village manager to touch on that $100,000 question and the commitment we're making as a board to trying this publication. Could you respond, please?
Be more than happy to, Mayor, Board. The initiative that the mayor and the board would like to test is protected. You're protecting the public's interest in this very agreement and resolution that they're going to take under consideration. It's our goal to have the first issue published in June, fanning the professional firm that the board would be engaging. Part of their contract is to go out and to attempt to secure advertising to offset the costs. So on a month-to-month basis in the current fiscal year, the budget has been amended. We have balanced the projected expenditures with the expected revenue adjustments in our budget. And we'll have to see what ad money comes in. And then the village board will have an opportunity to, again, reevaluate it in the 2017 budget session. And to trustees' question about contacting other units of government, I'm pleased to say that we received a favorable response about the concept from the Park District. We heard from one of the school districts. And I think that the burden's going to be on us to perform and deliver a publication that is, as Trustee Flynn from Crestwood said, apolitical, meant to be information, and to share the many fine activities in the community that are carried out by many, many groups in Oak Lawn. So that's the goal, and we'll do our best working with the board to try to achieve that goal.
Thank you. Any other discussion?
Madam
Trustee
Mayor.
Lenici.
So Trustee Stride says it's going to cost the taxpayers and residents $100,000. And that's the figures that you came up with. And that the nice thing is you can put out here all these grandiose numbers, but the fact is the truth is going to come up in the month of June, the month of July, the month of August, the month of September, the month of October, the month of November. So if the trustee who sits to my left is correct and we spend $100,000, or I'll even go further, we as a village spend more than $20,000 on this publication, I have a pair of Florsheim shoes that I will eat right here at the desk if that happens. I don't think that this board would be irresponsible with taxpayers' money. They're black, by the way. They're right here. I will eat those. You can hold me to my word on that. But what scares me, and that's a pretty grandiose statement, but it's not as grandiose as a $100,000 scare tactic. I'm not out there trying to scare the public into saying that getting information that is non-political, that is factual. We just talked about how do you report if a neighbor has issues with somebody who's not keeping up on their ordinances as far as their yard, any of the different violations. If you have a question about somebody who has a rental property, who do you contact? Can anyone here know that offhand? Would it be nice to have a publication to understand that? Or getting a hold of your waste management company, the garbage company, to pull a couch for you or make an extra pickup. Or if you have a question about senior services, I think it's very good and forward-thinking to be able to put that information out. I do think that there's going to be a slight investment, but I've looked at the numbers, I've done my research, and I believe that we will end up costing zero. He says 100,000, I say zero. Over 20,000, I eat my Florsheim shoes. So
Thank you.
I'm
Trustee
well
Desmond.
ready for it.
Yeah, you know, we have seen this so many times in the last couple of years. Probably, you know, anything that's good for Oak Lawn, you know, you can be guaranteed that Trustee Stride is going to come out against it. We have seen that with that beautiful memorial to 9/11 over by the train station. He voted against it. Those improvements that were made at 111th and Cicero, he voted against it. you know, we have one of the best police departments, I think, in the country. He voted against giving them a contract. You know, anything that's good for Oak Lawn, you can be guaranteed he'll be against it. So I think the best argument we can give is his opposition. If he's against it, you can be certain it's good for Oak Lawn. Thank you.
Thank you. And I just, anyone else? I just want to say this is not about my message. This is about the Village of Oak Lawn's message. This is about Team Oak Lawn, and it's what residents need to know to utilize village services. This is not my message, and you're incorrect with that, Trustee Straight. Let's take that vote.
Trustee Oliniechek?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond?
Yes.
Trustee Carberry?
Yes.
Trustee Vorder?
Yes.
Trustee Streit?
No.
Trustee Stalker?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-1.
Thank you. This brings us to 19. This is Resolution 160717, a resolution approving the First Amendment to the 911 Staffing Services Agreement between the Village of Oak Lawn and Norcom Public Safety Communications Incorporated. May I have a motion, please, on 19?
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Trustee Desmond made that
Second.
motion, seconded by Trustee Vorder. Any discussion? Let's take that vote, please.
Trustee Oliniechek?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond?
Yes.
Trustee Carberry?
Yes.
Trustee Vorder?
Yes.
Trustee Streit?
No.
Trustee Stalker?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-1.
Thank you. 20 is Resolution 160718, the 4th of July Parade. I guess we're going to have that on the 4th of July. Let's take that vote, please.
Motion approved.
Thank you. Trustee Oliniechek made that motion, and we're going
Second.
to have a second by Trustee Carberry. Any discussion? Let's take that vote, please.
Trustee Oliniechek?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond?
Yes.
Trustee Carberry?
Yes.
Trustee Vorder?
Yes.
Trustee Streit?
Yes.
Trustee Stalker?
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
It's so nice to think about summer. Thank you, everyone. 21 is a recommendation to waive the formal bid process and award the capital equipment purchase and subsequent capital lease of a Ford F-250 pickup truck for the Department of Public Works Water Division to Hawk Ford in the amount of $36,891. This was budgeted in the 2016 budget. May I have a motion on 21, please?
Motion approved.
Thank you. Trustee Oliniechek made that motion, seconded by Trustee Carberry. Any discussion? Let's call that vote, please.
Trustee Oliniechek?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond?
Yes.
Trustee Carberry?
Yes.
Trustee Vorder?
Yes.
Trustee Streit?
Yes.
Trustee Stalker?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Another sure sign summer is coming is item 22, a request to approve a garden center at Jewel Osco, number 3107, located at 9424 South Pulaski Road, from the end of May to June 30th in District 4. May I have a motion on 22, please?
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Trustee Vorder made that motion,
Second.
seconded by Trustee Stalker. Any discussion? Let's take that vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you. 23 is a recommendation and authorization to proceed with village towing services contract. May I have a motion on
Motion to postpone.
23? Okay, Trustee Oliniechek's made a motion to postpone.
Second.
And second is Trustee Straight. Any discussion? Let's take that vote, please.
Trustee Oliniechek?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond?
No.
Trustee Carberry?
No.
Trustee Vorder?
No.
Trustee Streit?
Yes.
Trustee Stalker?
No.
Motion passes 4-2.
Motion fails.
Motion fails 4-2.
Yes, motion fails. So now I need a motion for approval, please.
I think you want to let Larry discuss it first.
Okay.
Because we're going to give direction.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to turn the floor over to you, Larry, for discussion first, per Pat.
Certainly, Mayor and Board. In the fall of 2014, the board was presented by the administration with a review of an existing towing services agreement. That agreement was executed unanimously by the then Board of Trustees on October 24th of the year 2000. It was a 15-year agreement. Quite unusual from my experience as a manager in communities. Towing agreements are probably more aligned with agreements like solid waste services, 3 years, 5 years, or less, but not 15 years. But the agreement was tied in with the construction and financing of a small 2,000 square foot garage on village property located out on Southwest Highway. The village entered into an agreement with Jack's Towing. The village financed the construction of that building. The The contractor at that time, Jack's Towing, had an agreement and decided to pay off the loan with the village early as interest rates started to change from being higher to lower at that period of time. There was an 8% interest rate, and I'm sure the Jack's Towing ownership was prudent and decided and had the ability to pay that off. But they've continued to provide the service on an annual basis to the village of Oak Lawn. Ed, thank you for your presentation, and I agree with you. At the mandatory pre-bid conferences, I did express to every potential competitor that you were doing a fine job for the village of Oak Lawn. That's not the issue. It's a business decision. And actually, Trustee Flynn from Crestwood probably said it the best. She said, you have a wonderful community. I'm paraphrasing what she said tonight, and there's a lot of interest and interesting things in this community. What that does is it attracts a lot of interest from corporations and vendors who want to compete and who want to provide services and be paid through the budget. And I have the dubious distinction to make recommendations, review issues that are not always easy. But I do want to thank you for the service. I think you've done an excellent job. Having said that, we had strong competition. We had 7 companies that showed for the mandatory pre-bid, 5 that followed through in the process, and 5 that met the specifications as prepared by the village attorney and as reviewed by the village attorney. So 5 were able to go forward in November of around Thanksgiving 2015. So about a year after the decision was made to move forward and look at alternatives. Not excluding Jack's Towing, but allowing Jack's Towing to compete in the marketplace. And those 5 firms did an excellent job. All of them, including you, are firms that I think, and in your case, have served the village well. That's not the issue. The issue is, what is the best business decision? My job is to make recommendations, and I had a committee comprised of the police chief, the director of public works, the village attorney, and myself. We interviewed each firm. We contacted references. We took a look at your physical facilities, where you towed from, where your impoundment yard was. We looked at your financial services, your accounting, your record keeping, and we made a recommendation. And we scored those firms, and we ranked the 2 top firms as Walsh Towing, based in Chicago Ridge, and Technocraft, based in Justice. And my recommendation to the board was to select those 2 firms. Historically, Oak Lawn in the past has had 2 towing companies. We looked at several other communities. One that I often benchmark Oak Lawn against, that's Naperville. And the reason I benchmark Oak Lawn often against Naperville is because it's well known and recognized as a well-governed and a well-managed city. In the case of Naperville, larger in population, larger in area, they have 6 firms that provide service to them. One of the firms that provides service was bidding on Oak Lawn, and we were quite impressed with them. We actually scored them lower than some of the other firms because their impoundment lot was in Country Club Hills, and we thought that that was not a, that would be a service reduction if someone had their vehicle towed and they had to travel south on Cicero to about 163rd or 167th, as I recall, to retrieve their automobile, or if their insurance company was retrieving it through a second-party towing company, which, as you know, often happens for taking it to a body shop for repair. We looked at pricing, and you were all comparable in pricing, but there were some differences in the market. So that's another recommendation I have, is to bring the 2 companies together, which I've already done. Both are enthusiastic to come up with a common, very, to use a word earlier today, transparent bill of services, so that when you do get a vehicle towed, you do know that these are the service costs. And sometimes, depending on if it was an accident, there's cleanup services, or depending on the extent of the damage to a vehicle, it may require special towing equipment. Depending on the weight of the vehicle, it may require a crane or lifting as directed by the police in our fire rescue department. So, Mayor and Board, not an easy decision, not an easy recommendation. Again, I thank Jack's Towing for service. We did approach, by the way, we did have a series of negotiations upon receiving the bid. The negotiations dealt with business terms, and also asked Jack's Towing if they would consider taking one of the two slots, and they said it was all or none. And that was another factor. We felt that the move and the recommendation we were having was in the better interest for the Village of Oak Lawn. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Any other discussion?
I have a couple of questions.
Okay, Trustee Olenichek.
All right, I got my packet and I asked for information. I was given part of that information that was given to me on Monday, and the second part of the information was given me tonight at the meeting. And that's the rating of the different tow companies. So when I look at the evaluation categories, they're basically, from what I'm reading as I see it, their evaluation category, maximum points and score. There's no name of who rated this or how they came up with it, but it says that contract qualifications, experience and ability, financial strength, technical competence, years in business, references, physical facilities, and equipment, location, response time is 1. The second category is cost, towing fees, service calls, vehicle storage, and vehicle relocation is 2. And then the third one is conformance to RFP specs, required submittals, pricing additions and deletions, and modifications. So if you look at the conformance to RFP specs, Jack's was equal to everybody else that was there. If you look at cost, the top one for just cost was Walsh's, then it came to Technocrat, and down to Jack's at 12. And then when it came to the contractor qualifications, out of score of a 60, it was Walsh's at 60, Technocrat at 55, and Jack's at 50. So my question, and Larry, you said some very key things. You said you made the best business decision. Does the Village of Oak Lawn make money, and does the Village of Oak Lawn get charged by the towing companies? It's a simple yes or no.
The Village of Oak Lawn, in having the bid specifications advertised and made available to companies, we have any police vehicles, public work vehicles that may be involved in either an accident or a need for tow. Those vehicles, as part of, that's a service at no cost to the Village of Oak Lawn.
So they're all equal. It doesn't cost any money.
That is correct.
So there is no cost. This is not a budgetary, because you said, paid through the budget. There's no money for whoever we pick that gets paid through the budget. They pay the village, correct?
Well, their fee structure also includes by ordinance, $25 per towing event. So on a monthly basis, they have to provide a report to the village how many vehicles were towed and issue a check within 30 days to the village that represents $25 per tow.
Okay,
Currently.
Can I hold you on that? Because when I look at the bids for Walsh's, Technocrat, and Jack's, I see that Jack's shows a $35 paid as a franchise fee, so that's why their towing fee was a little bit more than the other ones. And again, I just got this information to take a look at it. And then I look at Walsh's, it shows that their towing fees are basically $150 with a $35 cleanup, a $15 surcharge, and then another $35 administration fee. And at the bottom of what they put in their bid spec, it says there's a village administration fee at the discretion of the village. So I'm trying to figure out, when you say you looked at the financial aspect of it, there's a lot, and this is the information you provided to me, Larry. I can't make heads or tails of how they came up with it, but I can tell you, they're all within, it looks like they're all within the same amount of money. You yourself said that, number one, your own words, that Jax is doing a fine job, that the cost is neutral based off of the things, and that's what I'm seeing. So I look at the other businesses, one is from Justice, and the other one is from Chicago Ridge, and Jax is the only one from Oak Lawn.
It's not from Oak Lawn, Mr. Trustee. I don't know where you say the business is from Oak Lawn. We have 3 businesses, actually 5 bidders, none of who are ownership is Oak Lawn.
No, ownership. The business currently is located in the village of Oak Lawn. Is that correct or incorrect?
The business is located on a site where they have not paid the rent, they're not current. They were informed over a year ago, there's a for sale sign. They were told that we were marketing the property. And furthermore, in addition to that, we found out they were paying no water bills, water and sewer bill. The taxpayers of Oak Lawn, since the year 2000, where it's explicitly clear in the agreement, says they're responsible for paying their utility bill. They're in arrears in utility, haven't paid one single bill.
So were they
And
disqualified?
they have not
from,
paid their rent for November, December, and for March, the
Were they
current month we're in.
disqualified from the bid process for that, or no?
I brought that to the board's attention, trustee. I mean, that is one of the issues when I first came here in 2007. I brought your attention within 60 days that this was an agreement that was unusual, and I recommended changes, and that time the board respectfully decided that they didn't want to make changes in the middle of a contract that had been approved by a prior board in the year 2000. I respected that. But at that point in 2007, there was an issue about the structuring. The structuring of this agreement was not done in a business-like manner.
Okay.
It's clear.
But this is a business-like manner. That this agreement that's being put out there isn't a business, would you say that? That this bid packet, business-like manner?
Yes, sir.
So sticking with what I have here and knowing that if there were somebody that was in the rears and they owed money, I'm sure that they would pay it. I'm still trying to figure out the need for change on this whole thing. And I didn't get all of the information because here's a couple of the bid packages I didn't get to see. And again, Larry, did you not just give me this tonight, what you put together?
You asked for it, yes.
All right. But the other information that I asked for the RFP, I got it on Monday. I was able to look at it, and I was not able to contact you today. I'm missing, let me finish. I'm missing E&R's RFP to be able to compare how they look at that. And I'm missing Vince's, which I know also has a yard located in the village of Oak Lawn. So all I'm saying is I was not prepared to make a vote on this tonight, especially when you look at, you yourself said that they've been doing a good job. They've got a long-term relationship in the village of Oak Lawn. Have we ever done a vendor review to look at the issues that are coming, that you have with them, and is it documented on an annual basis? Did you sit down with the vendor and say, these are my concerns, Mr. Vendor?
I think I brought it, I just stated, I brought it to the then board's attention during the budget process in 2007.
You brought a contract that you felt was a grandiose contract in 2007. That
I never said grandiose.
Well, it was a contract that. When did the contract end?
The contract that was executed by the vote of the board on October 24th, the year 2000, was a unanimous vote, and the agreement states clearly, and one of the first questions I asked village attorney was to double, triple check the agreement, because
When did the agreement expire?
expired on October 31st of 2015.
2015.
October 31st of 2015.
So hence why we're in a bid process, which is a good thing.
Well, but again, to recap, I informed our vendor not only of the real estate issues, but also of the service issues in the fall of 2014.
So we've had service issues with them?
The service issue has to do with the agreement, the fact that no property taxes were being paid, no water bills being paid, and the rent is in arrears. Now, all three of those issues, in writing, I've conferred with village attorney. I've kept the village attorney abreast of this issue since December 2015.
Pat, can I ask you a question? Are those all legitimate issues, or was there some ambiguity of what was negotiated back 15 years ago?
There's no ambiguity in the contract. The term ended October 31, 2015. After that period, they're on what's known as a month-to-month, and rent was due. The contract provides that they were to pay utilities. So no, there's no ambiguity in that.
So then, as of October, they were to pay utilities, pay water, and pay rent?
No, the rent for the 15 years was covered in this 2000 contract. The rent was covered via the loan that the village made. It was Jack's obligation to repay the loan. They had 15 years to do it. They paid it off ahead of time, which was absolutely their right to do so. After the agreement ended up, they had no right to be on the property. They do not own the property. The Village of Oak Lawn owns the property. I believe the manager asked for rent at that time. The utilities should have been being paid and billed the whole time of the agreement. I believe they weren't. I'm not sure on that.
Are we sure if the utilities were paid or not paid?
They were not paid. I gave the owners of Jack Towing an accounting of what the bill was without penalty. I didn't put interest on it. I gave that payment to him. What the outstanding bill was, it has not been paid.
So if he paid the outstanding bill, would that have had a difference on your recommendation?
No, it would not.
Okay. So that's not an issue on paying the outstanding. So that's something that still, as a village, we should collect. If that's what's due to us, the taxpayers and the residents of the village, we should still collect it.
Yes, sir.
We're all in agreement on that. I don't think anyone disagrees with that. But coming into the bid situation, what was the I'd really like to know how the points, because all I see is 60, 20, and 20.
Well,
I don't know how the points went.
Well, again, I'm more than happy if the board would like to hear. The scoring sheet before you again, procedurally, the four-member panel consisting of your police chief, your public works director, myself, and the village attorney met and interviewed together every single vendor. Then we sat together and discussed the presentations, and we had a scoring sheet, and together we scored that. It was all tabulated. You see the handwriting on this, that's from the village attorney. The village attorney became the scribe to keep the objectivity in the process. I could go in individually myself, and I'm sure any of my colleagues could as well. I don't know how productive that would be, but each of these categories, we had some differences, and we talked it over about the submittals. I would tell you, quite frankly, the best submittal was Technocraft. The most professionally put together, you've got a copy of all the proposals, was Technocraft. They were probably the most impressive in terms of technology as far as security at the site. Their towing accounting system, although EIR had a very impressive software system for their accountability also, which we thought was important. Technocraft stepped right up to the plate in their proposal on insurance, which impressed me, recognizing the exposure that both the village and a contractor would be faced with doing this service. And they recommended a substantial increase in the insurance level, which when we prepare, if you vote tonight to move forward, I can assure you, we'll be back to you with an agreement with the two firms, which you will have to vote on. The actual agreement that the attorney for you and the attorney for those two companies will scrutinize. We'll be looking at insurance to protect the village. We already have a draft of what we think is a much better agreement than what was prepared and executed back on October 24th, 2000, in a unanimous vote by the then board.
Who was on the board at that time?
Board at that time were trustees Herkus, Joy, Keene, Rosenbaum, Stanzik, and Strite.
Larry,
I
excuse me.
wasn't finished.
Well, yeah.
I wasn't
Okay,
finished.
if you could kind of move it along and.
Well, I asked for this information to be prepared prior to the meeting, and again, I apologize, but I was just given this information. So I didn't want to sit out here on the board and go through this whole thing, but I do think for us to be able to make an informed vote, we should have the information. That is a concern of mine when we don't get the information. Can I get the background, all of the other votes of what the votes were by category, by person? I don't have that. Somebody put in here the 55, the 14, the 20. It looks like the same handwriting. Then we have 50, 18, 20.
It's the village attorney. Again, as I can explain, we sat there as a team.
I understand, Larry,
And he
but when
put
I
it
talked to you, I
together.
wanted
I'm gonna
to
just ask
see.
Pat to explain the process he went through to derive those numbers.
Sure, as the manager laid out, there were two meetings. There was one meeting where each proposer was interviewed. We then met a second time. Myself, the manager, Chief Murray, and Director Barrett. We went through. I confirmed that all of the proposers had everything up to spec. There'd be no disqualifications based on that. And then, quite frankly, this is, as Trustee Olnichek has pointed out, this is it was a difficult bid to score, but we wanted to create a score. I thought it important because it is subjective. There's no doubt about it, because there's no money going to be going out from the village on this. So there's nothing that we can really compare apples to apples. They bid $2 less, $3 less, anything like that. As to the cost portion, I know. I think we all certainly learned a lot about towing services and their extras. I don't know what the exact formula was, but I believe that we looked at what is your base towing fee? Well, what is the base fee? Take out a couple other factors, and we looked at it. And again, you're absolutely right. Everybody was close. The final scores, all your bidders were close. I thought you got excellent bids, all five of them.
Right. So what I heard, you couldn't lose with any one of them.
I thought excellent bids.
Okay.
And again, this isn't this isn't one where you're required to go with the lowest responsible bidder. This is not one of those situations. This is
It's not one of those, but
professional services.
there is no low responsible bid that I can make out at this point.
Correct.
This is all subjective to what was at the interview process.
Correct.
All right, because with that, then I look at, you've got a long-term relationship with a good Oak Lawn business that employs people who live in the village of Oak Lawn. It's not a financial hardship to the village of Oak Lawn. I am concerned if you are not paying what is supposed to be paid to the village. We'd always want to make sure that we get that. But I, for the love of God, I don't understand why we'd be looking to change if all of those things, you're getting the same quality goods and services. I don't understand why we wouldn't take the knowledge that we learned and go with another year working with them to see if we could work out the differences, especially under the circumstances that I just heard here.
Thank you. Trustee Desmond's been waiting very patiently, sorry.
Yeah, Larry, I got a question.
Sure.
On this original, Pat, this criteria, this scoring system that you use, was that used for the original bid back in 2000?
Oh, no, there was nothing. I can answer that, trustee, because I've looked at the file. The file was absent of any indication of an attempt to be objective or criteria. I can't.
Well, how many
I can't-
companies?
I mean, I wasn't there in the year 2000, so I don't want to be presumptuous. I'm not here to criticize.
I understand, but I'm just trying to get
telling
to
you what the facts were at that time.
how many companies bid for it back in 2000?
I'm unaware. There are mixed stories. There's a story that
Is
in
it
the
on-
interview process, why there was a change, we were given a story from Jack's Towing, and we were given a different story from Walsh. At the time, Walsh and Jack's Towing were both servicing the village, and a decision was made to eliminate Walsh, as I understand it.
Well, Trustee Straight, can you enlighten us? I mean, you voted for this. You were on the board at the time.
Actually, what I recall was there was another company involved too at one time. It was Fox.
I believe that was, again, I could stand to be corrected, but I think Fox was the original, and it morphed in again. I don't know all the facts, but Fox's was serving this community at one time. They were based, the impoundment was on Pulaski and Evergreen Park. And the reason for the change, again, we've heard stories, but I don't have any, there's no facts in the file.
Larry, is it fair to say that this is a service contract, that there didn't need to be an RFP or a bid process for it? Legal counsel, correct?
Fair.
So
And
I
you're also not expending any public money on it.
Right, there's no public money, so I'm just going back that I wasn't there. I'm just assuming that because this was a services, there didn't need to be a bid process. It would be a simple recommendation. But since we do have a bid process, and it's open and transparent, I'm looking for the other detail on these numbers to try to figure out where they came from, because I look at the financials here, and they all look the same. Some are a little bit different here or there, but that's when I do an RFP for work, I take and try to match apples to apples.
I'm going to go back, Mr. Trustee, respectfully. There is no comparison, if you were looking at the submittals, between Technocraft and then the firm that services the city of Chicago, EIR, and services Naperville, and I assume other businesses. They were outstanding. They rated lowest or lower. Excuse me. They were rated actually number 3. They were rated a little bit lower. They didn't have a nearby impoundment, and that was. I mean, they were very impressive. Very impressive.
But I'm just looking at none of the other places are the sole provider of service. They're going to be doing services to other
That sounds
communities.
very, I've never heard of that. As a matter of fact, to me, I think it would behoove the village to have an ongoing business concern that has multiple customers. I mean, I've never heard, I've never seen a towing company that relied on one customer, in this case, a municipality, and ran it from a municipal property without paying property taxes and without paying water bills. How do you do that? I don't understand.
Okay, Trustee Warder has been waiting to speak.
I'd like to just lend a little bit of history, since I've been towing cars for the Village of Oak Lawn since 1968 as a police officer here. When I became a police officer here, all the towing was done by Fox Auto Towing at 96th Street. Sometime after about 10 years on the job, somebody decided to take some of that business away from Fox, a company, by the way, who did a wonderful job for the Village of Oak Lawn through the whole village, and they split the town in half, and that's another question, Larry. Are we splitting the town in half, and what's the border?
Actually, that decision in part of the contract, and will be coming to you, we're looking at 2 scenarios. We've listened to the input from the 2 companies who are in agreement. They like the Naperville model, which is the dispatchers have your 2 providers, and they do it on a rotating list. You're on, and they also rely off each other in case there may be 2 major incidents ongoing at the same time. In the old days, and something that Steve Barrett had expressed an interest, but certainly I want the police's input, Central was the dividing line, but a lot's changed since 2000.
That's correct, it was Central.
One did the east side and one did the west.
Right.
Central.
And it worked very, very good. I think there were plenty of trucks when you had multiple accidents, and you know what, if Fox's trucks were tied up, Walsh could take an accident on that side. So both, that service worked pretty good. But how we decided, or how the board decided, okay, that Fox no longer was getting all of it, and now we were giving some to Walsh, always was a little bit of a question in my mind. Then, in 2000, when Jack got the business, and Jack has done a wonderful job. I know the man personally. He's a good guy. But I don't know how that came about, how suddenly Walsh lost it, and Fox lost it, and Jack suddenly got it. And Trustee Desmond made an interesting point. Did Jack compete as this process competed?
According to both Jack's Towing and also to Walsh, different stories, but they both would agree that there was no competition at that time. So, Trustee Straight, I'm not aware of neither one of them mentioned a third company. Both of them had different stories on why the switch was made. I can discuss it with anybody who'd like to talk to me on an individual basis.
I just want to follow up that as I followed this process and look at the documents, and Alex, you've asked a million different questions, and they were good questions and clarified it to me. I think this is the best vetting process for a very difficult situation that I've ever seen. I think the staff's done a pretty good job, and unfortunately, there's going to be winners and losers in this, but at least it's clear on how this came about. We didn't have any input into it. I didn't have any input. I don't know if anybody at Trustee did. It was the staff who did this, and I'm sure all the staff didn't agree on every single point. But as it comes to me, I think this has been hammered out as well as it's going to be hammered out.
And Trustee Voiter, since you looked at me and brought that up, I have no issue with that, other than if it was a true vetting process, why wouldn't you give all the business to one? Where did this 50-50? When the RFP came out, there was no discussion, nowhere in any RFP that I see an approach to split the business. That came out after all of this, unless you can show me in the RFP, Larry.
No, actually, it was a learning process.
So it wasn't in the RFP?
No, that is absolutely correct.
Thank you.
And again, I would echo what our village attorney said. We learned a lot, and we learned there's better models out there, and we learned that in economic development. We learn it in other functions that we provide services, that we don't always have the best model, and there are other communities that have some models that we can look at.
But that's the question I have, is you're saying we don't have the best model when if we ever had an incident where Jack's Towing could not meet the service requirements? Are you aware of any?
I'm not.
Chief, are you aware of any? No. So that's what I don't understand. How are you saying we can make a better process when the process in itself is working? That doesn't make sense to me.
Well, I don't want to use this analogy, but it's a great analogy, quite frankly. There have been, at least since I've been here, there's been 3 solid waste companies that have represented us. We do bid because of pricing to the customers, but it's very service driven. We had Waste Management. When I arrived here, you were switching out to Veolia, and Veolia was coming in. It was a very chaotic transition. It was not a smooth transition. They, I think, got their sea legs and did a very, very fine job. I didn't hear much negativity on them, but we decided to go out and bid. And it was highly competitive, and at the mandatory bid opening, my goodness, even more than the tow companies. The end result is we brought in Republic Industry.
Well, Larry, you didn't bring in Republic. The RFP brought in Republic because it's a cost to taxpayers, and Republic bid it lower. And we were at advantage. Anything that costs taxpayers money, you have to bid out. We've gone above and beyond, and I commend you and staff for doing it, but it's not a good analogy because, yes, we learned from the RFP proposal, I was a part of each one of those, that we could actually reduce our cost with increasing recycling and with reduction of stem miles for that totally different thing. This has no impact into the village of Oak Lawn or to the taxpayers. None.
Well, let me give you another analogy, and again, you're going to say it's a faulty analogy, and I respect that, but you're looking at service. We have fallen to green. I think our special events committee does an outstanding job, and some of you sitting on the board have served in that capacity, not an easy job. And we have so many bands that want to play here. Again, quoting the trustee from Crestwood, what a wonderful community, got a great story. How do you select one band versus the other? And they're assigned, those citizens, with Trustee Desmond and with Steve Barrett and Deanna, and they do a great job. But I'm the one who gets the calls. Why weren't we chosen? Whatever. They do a good vetting job for a service. It's not easy, and quite frankly, it's cyclical. That's why we're not proposing a long-term agreement. We're going to see how the service is.
And I don't have any issue with that, but what I have an issue with is they're providing the service, the system works, they're in Oak Lawn. You're going to negatively affect other people's lives with this, and I'm fine with making business decisions, but Walsh won't be negatively affected. Technocraft won't be negatively affected. I'm very concerned that this is the only one that's bidding on it that is going to be negatively affected for providing good service that they are aware of.
Mayor,
Thank you.
this will be
Call
the
a question.
last thing I'll
We
say.
have one more.
I just called a question.
That's fine, thank you.
Okay, we need a motion first. Are you
Mayor, I'd
making
like
a
to-
motion?
I'd like to address the issue.
Okay, you're making a motion?
No, I'd like to
Okay,
address
if
the
there's
issue.
a question called without a motion?
If there's a second, but every trustee is entitled to speak on it.
Okay,
before you call.
even without a motion?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you,
Mhm.
Mayor.
Sure.
So I think what we've figured out is what you get when you provide nearly 2 decades of excellent service here in the village of Oak Lawn. When you've worked closely with the police department, which is what they really work very closely with the police, the fire, the public works, and 911. These departments and the people employed by them have built close working relationships over the 17 years that they took to build. They know the employees, and the employees know them. They know our streets. They go above and beyond what is expected of them. Oak Lawn's former 911 operators know all too well what Jax is going through right now. Loyalty and dedicated service will get you nowhere with this administration. To this administration, employees are just red ink. They are not bothered by the fact that they are firing Oak Lawn residents who own homes here, who have raised families here, who shop Oak Lawn, and who pay taxes here.
Excuse me, nobody has voted
According
for
to-
anybody yet.
He has
I
to
understand, but
continue.
you know, there
Please,
should, there should be some
I'll let you
semblance
speak
of
after.
honesty out
Trustee
front.
Desmond, I'll let you
Things
speak
tonight,
after.
Trustee, so please, according to the manager, as we've heard over and over tonight, Jax has provided excellent service for 17 years. So what do you get for providing 17 years of excellent service here in the village of Oak Lawn? You get fired.
Again,
Voting
no one
to
has been
cancel.
fired. Can you speak the truth, please, if possible?
Yeah, the only one that hasn't spoken the truth is you, trustee. Voting to
Trust, no personal attacks.
Thank
Let's
you. I'd
move
prefer to
on.
keep it strictly to the business. Voting to cancel the contract means voting to fire Oak Lawn residents. We're always saying to shop Oak Lawn, yet we went looking to dump an Oak Lawn business where Oak Lawn residents work. I just wanted to say, for the record, to Jack and to Ed and all the fine employees of Jack's, thank you for 17 years of excellent service. I would like to say that, that like Jack's, I'm sure that these other firms, as we've heard, Walsh's and Technocraft are fine companies, and I don't want my comments construed to be as an attack on any of those other companies, but I just think we should recognize that changing what has worked for 17 years affects real people with real families here in Oak Lawn.
Thank you.
Mayor.
Trustee Desmond.
Mayor, motion to approve.
Okay, we have a motion by trustee Stalker. Is
Second.
there- And second, okay. Any discussion now? Trustee Desmond, did you have more to say? And
No, go ahead.
we're gonna call that vote, please.
Can I-
Oops, okay.
Can I just make one comment? You
Sure.
know, I'm a businessman too, and I built my business around 180 locations that had my equipment. I was offered the entire jewel chain, okay, for my equipment. And I realized that if I committed to the jewel chain and they kicked me out, I was out of business. So I took a dozen stores. You know what? I provided excellent service. 10 years later, for no reason, they kicked me out. That's the nature of business. Nothing goes on forever. This is a 15-year contract that this man had. It's perfectly legitimate to review it. So I think a lot of discussion, a lot of good discussion. I think it's time
Thank
to
you.
make a decision
Let's
here.
take that vote then, please.
Trustee Oliniechek?
No.
Trustee Desmond?
No.
Trustee Carberry?
Yes.
Trustee Vorder?
Yes.
Trustee Streit?
No.
Trustee Stalker?
Yes.
President Barry?
No.
Motion fails to approve.
Okay, thank you. Number 24, Village Clerk's Report.
Okay. Approval of semi-monthly disbursements, number 2016-06D, dated March 22nd, 2016, in the amount of $1,202,602.85.
Okay, thank you. Can I have a motion on 24A?
Motion to pay the bills, Mayor.
Thank you. Made by Trustee Vorder,
Second.
seconded by Trustee Stalker. Any discussion? Let's take that vote.
Trustee Oliniechek?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond?
Yes.
Trustee Carberry?
Yes.
Trustee Vorder?
Yes.
Trustee Streit?
Yes.
Trustee Stalker?
Yes.
And happy Easter to all. That's all I have, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Village President's Report, we have a little bit to go over here. So, 25A, Board Commissions and Appointments. I'm going to take these individually. I'd like a motion on each. So we're looking at the Appeals Board, Pat Pulver in District 1. May I have a motion on Pat Pulver?
Motion to approve.
Thank you.
Second.
Trustee Desmond made that motion, seconded by Trustee Oliniechek. Any discussion? Let's take that vote.
Trustee Oliniechek?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond?
Yes.
Trustee Carberry?
Yes.
Trustee Vorder?
Yes.
Trustee Streit?
Yes.
Trustee Stalker?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Architectural and Design Review Commission, Dave Bennett, District 1. May I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Trustee Desmond made that motion.
Second.
Seconded by Trustee Oliniechek. Any discussion? Let's take that vote.
Trustee Oliniechek?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond?
Yes.
Trustee Carberry?
Yes.
Trustee Vorder?
Yes.
Trustee Streit?
Yes.
Trustee Stalker?
Yes.
Thank you. Architectural and Design Review Commission, Jose Pareja, District 6.
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Trustee Vorder made that motion,
Second.
and that was Trustee Carberry, I think. Any discussion? Let's take that vote.
Trustee Oliniechek?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond?
Yes.
Trustee Carberry?
Yes.
Trustee Vorder?
Yes.
Trustee Streit?
Yes.
Trustee Stalker?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Arts Commission, Linda Gray, District 2. May I have a motion, please?
Motion approved.
Thank you. Trustee Oliniechek made that motion.
Second.
Okay, I'm going to give it to Trustee Carberry. Any discussion? Please take that vote.
Trustee Oliniechek?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond?
Yes.
Trustee Carberry?
Yes.
Trustee Vorder?
Yes.
Trustee Streit?
Yes.
And Trustee Stalker?
Yes.
Thank you. Arts Commission, Nicholas Gulino, District 2. May I have a motion, please?
Motion approved.
Thank you. Trustee Oliniechek made that motion.
Second.
Seconded by Trustee Desmond. Any discussion? Let's take that vote.
Trustee Oliniechek?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond?
Yes.
Trustee Carberry?
Yes.
Trustee Vorder?
Yes.
Trustee Streit?
Yes.
Trustee Stalker?
Yes.
Thank you. Arts Commission, Shannon Baker in District 5. May I have a motion, please, for Shannon Baker?
Motion to, go ahead.
Motion to approve.
Thank you,
Second.
Trustee Stalker, seconded by Trustee Vorder. Any discussion? Let's take that vote, please.
Trustee Oliniechek?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond?
Yes.
Trustee Carberry?
Yes.
Trustee Vorder?
Yes.
Trustee Streit?
Yes.
Trustee Stalker?
Yes.
Thank you. District 3, Arts Commission, Stefan Rosine. There's a typo, there should be 2 E's in Rosine, R-O-S-E-E-N. If the clerk could make a note of that, please.
I already did.
Thank you so much. And let's go ahead, ask for a motion.
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Trustee Vorder.
Second.
Seconded by Trustee Carberry. Any discussion? Let's call that vote, please.
Trustee Oliniechek?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond?
Yes.
Trustee Carberry?
Yes.
Trustee Vorder?
Yes.
Trustee Streit?
Yes.
Trustee Stalker?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, Arts Commission, District 6, Linda Atkins. May I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Trustee Vorder.
Second.
Seconded, Trustee Carberry. Any discussion? Let's take that vote, please.
Trustee Oliniechek?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond?
Yes.
Trustee Carberry?
Yes.
Trustee Vorder?
Yes.
Trustee Streit?
Yes.
Trustee Stalker?
Yes.
Thank you. Senior Commission, Pat Conahan, District 1. May I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Trustee Desmond.
Second.
And that was seconded by Trustee Oliniechek. Any discussion? Let's take that vote, please.
Trustee Oliniechek?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond?
Yes.
Trustee Carberry?
Yes.
Trustee Vorder?
Yes.
Trustee Straight?
Yes.
Trustee Stalker?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Special Events Commission, Mike Sack, District 5. May I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve.
Thank you,
Second.
Trustee Desmond, seconded by Trustee Stalker. Any discussion here? Let's take that vote, please.
Trustee Oliniechek?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond?
Yes.
Trustee Carberry?
Yes.
Trustee Vorder?
Yes.
Trustee Straight?
Yes.
And Trustee Stalker?
Okay, thank you, everyone. Getting through that. Now we're on 25B, like boy. Ordinance 160718. This is an ordinance amending Title 3, Chapter 3, Section 18 of the Oaklawn Village Code pertaining to liquor license penalties. May I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Trustee Desmond. And is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Trustee Vorder. Made that second. Any discussion? This represents a lot of hard work by our new Liquor Advisory Board. I want to thank them for their contributions. This will clean up a lot of the ambiguity when there are violations, and it puts us in the upper tier communities where this is laid out and easy to follow and easy to understand. And I want to thank everyone on that Liquor Advisory Board for their help. Let's call that vote, please.
Trustee Oliniechek?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond?
Yes.
Trustee Carberry?
Yes.
Trustee Vorder?
Yes.
Trustee Straight?
Yes.
Trustee Stalker?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. I have a park lawn update, 25C. I attended the January 21st Park Lawn Association Board meeting with our TIF attorney, Matt Welsh. Their new executive director, Steve Manning, had several questions about how the TIF would impact park lawn, and they were looking for some discussion, understanding how it will impact them. For example, when they face questions like, should they get a new roof, should they upgrade their building, you know, if they're afraid that it's going to be just taken away from them through the TIF, through eminent domain. I want to thank Matt Welsh for going into detail on the process for them. And they asked that I read a statement at the board meeting, so it's entered into the record, so all the trustees know their opinion. They wanted to know, you know, should they look at other options for a facility. They have a large workshop that is kind of the center hub of all their activities on 111th Street. And they said, in light of the TIF, the Park Lawn Board conducted a comprehensive evaluation of alternative facilities in Oak Lawn and surrounding communities. And due to the significant costs associated with acquiring anything similar, the cost of replicating the current array of programs at another location is just cost prohibitive. The evaluation highlighted the fact that there are not any viable sites within Oak Lawn boundaries, and Park Lawn has been an important community service provider in Oak Lawn for 60 years and has many well-established relationships, including the village of Oak Lawn. So relocating outside of the village would have a dramatic impact on Park Lawn and the services they could deliver. Additionally, the management conducted a survey of families regarding the services offered at the vocational workshop, and the families had very high ratings for the current array of services and overwhelmingly told them they supported the continuance of those programs. Families also commented on the unique nature of Park Lawn as compared to other businesses within the TIF district. As one parent noted, what takes place in the workshop is not a business, it is a community. And at a recent membership meeting, all of the families stated they would do whatever it takes to ensure Park Lawn can continue to provide the services at the workshop for their loved ones. As a result of the comprehensive evaluation of alternative sites and the survey families regarding the nature of services offered, the Board of Directors has determined that the best course of action for Park Lawn is to remain at its current location, and the board looks forward to continuing the positive partnership with the Village of Oak Lawn to ensure Park Lawn remains a viable community service provider to residents of Oak Lawn and neighboring communities. The board has asked that I share this information with trustees, and on behalf of the Board of Directors of Park Lawn Association, Steve Manning appreciates your time and attention while I read that letter. So I'll give you a copy of that, Jane, if you want it for the minute. Okay, thank you so much. So basically, you know, they want to stay. And the families say it's a community, they want to stay. So under general village matters, boy, it's a long meeting here. We had a very long meeting last night at Village Hall. Planning and Development met, and they were considering several things which may or may not eventually make it to the board for discussion. One of them was the construction potentially of a memory center, a center for adults with dementia and Alzheimer's in our community. And it was clear from the questions and comments that there was a lot of confusion about what is being proposed. The residents were very passionate, and understandably so, but there was enough confusion, and Anthem did not expect the crowd. They didn't know what to do as far as they thought they were just presenting to the commission, and their visuals were very small. So residents left, I think, with more questions than answers. You know, they were confused about the process. They were confused at what point, you know, why are they just hearing about it now? And you know, is it a public meeting? What, you know, and I think there's been some misinformation out there as well. So I just want to say to those residents that we are going to have a meeting, first of all, to describe the process, how a developer might come to the village, present their ideas, move through the staff, different levels, and then make it to planning and development for a vote, and ultimately to the board for a vote. So there was a lot of confusion about that process. This project was first made aware of in July of 2015. The trustees were notified of it, each trustee here, July 17th, again July 31st, August 28th, August 14th, August 21st, August 7th, January 22nd, and pardon me, February 5th, February 12th, February 19th, and February 26th, and March 18th. So trustees have been apprised as it's moved through the different kind of hurdles to get ready to have something to present. So my goal is, I have not decided if this is a good fit for Oak Lawn. I certainly appreciated hearing all the residents, but I think Anthem as a business deserves due process. They deserve an opportunity to explain what they're proposing and have residents have an opportunity to see it, understand it. So look for an announcement on that. It'll probably be in the next week or two when we have that meeting. And every resident in the affected area is welcome to be notified, as well as anyone in the community. With that, I think that's all I have to say. We're going to move on to 26, executive session, 2016-02, for the purpose of discussing pending litigation. May I have a motion on 26, please? Thank you, Trustee Olenichek. Second. Thank you. Moved by Trustee Olenichek, seconded by Trustee Border. Any discussion here? Let's take that vote, please.
Trustee Olenichek?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond?
Good.
He departed. Trustee Carberry?
Yes.
Trustee Warder?
Yes.
Trustee Strike?
Yes.
Trustee Stalker?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, so for the students here, we're going to move into executive session, so this is the time to sign all the paperwork that you need signed, and we have to clear the room for an executive meeting. Thank you.